Listen. That's the sound of my old heart, beating its 4 billionth beat. If you're lucky enough to reach this milestone, well then I hope, like me, you'll feel it's worthy of a toast.
To life. It's one hell of a ride. To life.
My name is Adam, and I'd like to tell you my story.
Now, are we going to eat this cake or just look at it?
The whole story of a single human life. A transformation beyond imagination, inside and out. How secret worlds you never see, happening inside you every moment you're alive, drive the person you become. Through decades of choices and chances that make our lives unique. So this is my story. But look a little closer, and it's your story too. The journey of a lifetime. On the path we all travel. From cradle to grave. This is my parents' apartment on the night they will always believe I was conceived. But the truth is, all this moment really gives you is a ticket to the start line. The race for life. 300 million possible people on an epic journey across a vast hostile territory. All chasing the same distant prize, the egg. A 300 million to 1 shot. And just like you, I beat those odds. Imagine that. All the more incredible because at this point, possible me was way back in 100 and something millionth place. You see, I wasn't the biggest, the fastest, or the strongest. But you don't have to be to win this race. You need luck. You need stamina. And above all else, you need timing.
She hasn't died. What does your Uncle Mike do before he got married?
12 hours later, and you wouldn't know it from looking at her, but a genuine miracle was about to take place inside my mom. You see, lucky for me, my faster brothers and sisters had been softening up the egg ahead of me. So when I finally got there, I slid right in. This was the moment of conception. And she never even flinched. I guess my dad would have been surprised to know that when Mom actually got pregnant, he was 12 feet across the room. Inside the egg, 2 sets of chromosomes combine, 23 from each parent. 46 chromosomes containing the unique DNA code for who you'll be. The blueprint for a brand new human being inside a single cell. Now all they had to do was wait.
When a 1,000-gallon tank of hot water was ready, he'd drag a chicken through it.
That cell divided in 2, then 4, and kept on going. Till just 3 weeks later, my fledgling heart beat its very first beat. That heartbeat is controlled by a small patch of nerve cells called your sinoatrial node, which raise or lower your heart rate as required. And they'll keep doing that job day in and day out without you ever having to think about it for the rest of your life. Four months and 27 odd million beats later, I started to make my presence felt.
Hey, come here. You feel that?
He's dancing.
I may only have been about 11 inches from head to foot, but inside that head, my cochlea, the shell-like part of my inner ear, was already functioning. Sound funnels in, vibrating thousands of tiny hairs, each transmitting specific frequencies to the brain, letting you respond to music or your parents' voices, even if they are a bit muffled.
Hang in there. You want to dance with us?
Don't mind if I do. The single biggest development in the womb, though, is your brain. The command center that controls you is in overdrive, producing up to 50,000 brand new neurons every second. By full term, you'll have 100 billion of them ready to receive and transmit information. But this explosive cerebral growth is also a problem. After 9 months in the womb, your head has already grown to a quarter of adult size. Any bigger, and you'd never make it out of your mother. So on September 14th, 1950, for me and my big head, it was now or never.
Push. Good. You did it.
Now, I may have been out of the womb, but I wasn't out of the woods. At birth, your walnut-sized heart has already tallied around 54 million beats. But for you to survive, somewhere around beat 54,000,001, it has to really up its game.
Here we go. Come on.
In the womb, you got all the oxygen you needed direct from your mom. A hole in your heart bypassed your dormant lungs. Now that you're out, your first gasps of air need to close that hole, and fast.
There we go. There we go.
Rerouting your blood and jump-starting your lungs.
get this guy covered up and cleaned up here.
So that now blood enters the right side of your heart, gets pumped to your lungs where it takes on oxygen, then flows back to the left side where another pump sends it round your body. Once that's up and running, you're on your own.
Would you like to hold him? Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Beautiful. Just like his mama.
Does he have a name yet?
Adam. We're gonna call you Adam.
Detroit, 1950. The post-war boom was in full swing. The American dream was thriving. And so was I. A month out of the hospital, I'd grown an inch and put on 7 ounces. Which may not sound like much, but if you continued growing at that rate, by age 10, you'd be nearly 12 feet tall.
He's looking at you.
Was I? Hard to say. At 1 month, you can't focus on anything more than 8 inches away. But even that blurry image is something of an achievement. Your eyes actually work like pinhole cameras, meaning the image they see is upside down and back to front. Your brain has to learn to compensate. Inverting the image and flipping it right side up. Focus, movement tracking, and depth perception take far longer.
What's going on? What's going on?
6 months in, and lucky for me, my vision was 20/20. But that didn't mean I was happy. Because the next major breakthrough in my development was beginning to break through. Teething. In the natural growth of your body, nothing is more violent. Tooth enamel is the hardest substance in the human body. To get a full set of baby teeth, you have to go through eruptions like these 20 times. And it wasn't just painful for me. Honestly, you take one little nibble, and it's a one-way ticket to the bottle. But new teeth meant new opportunities.
And here comes the airplane. That's a boy. That's my boy.
Moving on from milk brings your digestive system into its own. Stripping the nutrients that let you live and grow. Protein, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, and minerals from every mouthful you eat.
He's holding the spoon himself.
Astonishingly, to power me through my life since, my digestive system has had to process more than 70 tons of food. Back then, all that extra nutrition let me do something I'd been itching for. Strike out on my own. Slow going at first, but crawling does a lot for you. Building muscle and developing balance and coordination. And giving your rapidly developing skeleton a good workout, too. Over time, the 300 or so small bones you're born with will morph into 206 larger bones. From day to day, the changes you go through are almost imperceptible. But speed them up, and you start to see just how profound they are. In fact, throughout year one, the only thing constant in your life is change.
Happy birthday, dear Adam.
My first birthday.
To you.
And also the day that, after a little prompting,
Watch this. Say, Daddy, Adam. Daddy.
I said my first word.
Daddy. Say it for me.
Not quite what he was gunning for, but at least he got it on film. And not long after, with a bit more help from my pop, I learned the neatest trick of all. Opening a world of possibilities. One small step. The first of around 200 million. Enough to walk right around the planet 4 times. September 1954, I was 4 years old, and about as happy in my world as a kid can be. For many in America, it was a time of innocence. For others, a time of struggle. The wheels of change were turning, and my life was about to change dramatically, too.
What?
Dad said we were moving.
We got the loan.
You're kidding. It's wonderful.
Because Mom was pregnant. I wanted no part of it. So the night before moving day,
Adam?
I ran away from home.
Oh no. Bob! Adam! Okay. Here we are, Adam. Oh my.
Look at this.
Lucky for me, my great escape was short-lived.
Come on, Adam. Daddy wants to take a photo.
Age 4, I wasn't allowed to cross the street on my own, so I just walked round and round the block till they found me.
Yeah, good spot. And on 3, everybody say cheese. 1, 2, 3.
Cheese!
But as I soon found out, suburban flight had some major consolations. Like my very own backyard. I loved it. Sun on my back, dirt under my nails, grass beneath my feet. Of course, I never thought about it back then, but all those sensations are actually down to the largest and fastest growing organ you possess. Your skin. Super magnified, it's a rugged, alien landscape. Not unlike a football with hair. But take a look under the surface, and it's so much more. Your dermis, a vast, microscopic jungle. Collagen and elastin give your skin its stretch and structure. Sweat glands allow you to regulate body temperature. Bundles of nerve cells let you feel sensations of touch, heat, and pain. So my first real memory is how great it felt doing this.
Adam, bath time. What? Come on, honey, it's bath time.
It's funny the things that stay with you. I remember Mom saying,
I always brush your teeth twice a day. It's important.
although she never said why. But when you think right now there are around 20 billion bacteria in your mouth, reproducing every 5 hours, go 24 hours without brushing, and that 20 billion becomes 100 billion. You can see she had a point.
Good boy, Adam.
But most of all, I remember that every single day was an adventure. This isn't just physically exhausting. Every new experience creates thousands of extra pathways between the billions of neurons in your brain. It's a total sensory overload, and that leads to only one thing. In the first part of sleep, your exhausted brain all but shuts down as your body works on restoring energy and repairing damaged tissue. Then REM, or rapid eye movement sleep, takes over. Your closed eyes begin to dart around as your brain comes alive and starts to dream. And as you dream, your brain reorganizes itself, trimming useless connections and strengthening useful ones, helping you send information on your experiences to the right places. And the other thing we all do in our sleep is most of our growing. Three years of sweet dreams later, I weighed 59 pounds and was 4 feet 2 inches tall. My heart had grown too, and in fact, you can tell how much just by looking at me. It just so happens that throughout your life, your heart is always about the same size as one of your fists. And that, by the way, was its 500 millionth beat. Now, around age 7, your imaginative abilities began to explode. And in 1957, that coincided with another explosion. TV westerns. I loved them, and they taught me a lot.
Well, if you're looking for a fight, young man, I'd be happy to oblige you.
Stand up for what's right, whatever the cost.
Hey, Pilgrim, you got something on your shoe.
And no matter how hard the fight, no one ever really gets hurt. Childish? Without a doubt. But your sense of right and wrong at this age is a key factor in your rapidly developing personality. And mine was about to be tested to the limit. On my first day at school, now, some moments change your life in ways you can't begin to imagine. This one changed mine, and it was all down to Alice Kendall.
Hey! Leave her alone!
As a great man once said, if you can keep your head while all around are losing theirs, then it's highly likely you haven't fully grasped the situation.
Oh, yeah? Who's gonna make me?
Luckily, my body was way ahead of me and activated my fight or flight response, an unconscious evolutionary reaction to sudden danger, like a predator, or in this case, Francis Zito. Your brain triggers the release of adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart beats faster and harder, pumping oxygen and glucose around your body. Blood vessels in your skin constrict to limit bleeding from injury. Hairs stand on end as your muscles tense, ready to defend yourself or run. And your pupils dilate as you focus on the threat. So what was it going to be?
If you're looking for a fight, young man, I'd be happy to oblige you.
What did you say? Squirt?
I said, hey, Pilgrim, you got something on your shoe.
So it turns out the top of a person's head is one of the hardest parts of the body, and the 27 bones in your hand, some of the most delicate. Especially those two. And like on TV, someone did get hurt.
Francis!
And along with a broken hand and a black eye, I think I might have been concussed. Because what I heard next was...
That was the sweetest thing I ever saw. Huh?
But apparently...
I said that was the stupidest thing I ever saw.
Ouch.
Ow.
Okay, so we're gonna need to realign the bones a little bit here.
Will it hurt?
No.
Really?
Nope. It's gonna hurt like hell. It's over now. Let's get you plastered up.
Now, all I'd see in the weeks ahead would be the plaster cast. But inside, there'd be a lot going on. Blood clots around the break, flooding the area with an army of repair cells. Inside the clot, a loose collagen mesh forms to bridge the gap. Cartilage binds the collagen mesh together. And that cartilage gets replaced by newly synthesized bone. By the time it's all done, you'll be good as new. But in the meantime, getting plastered up meant going straight back to school. And a whole world of trouble. Six painful months as the school bully's favorite piñata quickly taught me that flight is also a useful option. And that's how I met Billy and Max.
If you hide in here, you have to bring cookies and comics. Okay. We'll share ours with you today because you're new, but from here on, you have to bring your own.
Turned out I wasn't Francis's only victim. And it's funny how a common enemy brings people together.
Intergalactic space baseball.
Okay, so they were geeks holed up in a janitor's closet. But then, so was I. And of course, there's nothing us geeks like more than a plan.
Open it.
There's nothing in there.
Open it.
No, there's nothing in there.
The school pet went missing.
I don't know how that got in there.
That's it, Francis. This is the last straw. Principal's office.
I didn't do it! Somebody set me up!
Francis got suspended and his mom packed him off to boarding school. I felt pretty bad about it. For about 5.5 seconds.
Today's the day I make you mine. Shoot, shoot, doo-doo. The sun is rising over the hay. I know it's gonna be a wonderful day. Some morning, good morning, rise and shine.
Now, somewhere around the age of 8, your motor skills and coordination begin to rapidly improve, which comes in handy when it's all square at the bottom of the ninth in a serious game of intergalactic baseball.
On this pitch rests the future of the galaxy.
And when you think about what's involved in actually hitting a baseball, it's a wonder they ever get hit. First, your eyes have to detect the ball. Then your brain needs to calculate the speed and path before sending signals to your larger muscles to move your body into the right position to begin your swing. And you adjust your hands and the path of the bat to meet the ball. Even as kids, we're capable of doing all these things in less than a quarter of a second.
The aliens win! The aliens win!
Beat 581,042,006. My first home run. Over the next 3 years, I grew 7 inches taller and gained 18 pounds. And I actually started to like school.
Getting there, Adam. Keep it up.
Around age 12, you start thinking in more complex and abstract ways. And that's when I heard something that stopped me in my tracks.
Now, I promised you a treat, and here it is. We're going to listen to our president.
We choose to go to the moon.
It was like he was talking right to me.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills.
If JFK was going to the moon, every kid in America was going with him. But as it turned out, of course, even those with the greatest vision can't see the future.
They found several witnesses who saw a man in the window of a building overlooking the parade route with a gun in his hand.
White House press secretary that President Kennedy died at approximately 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, which is about 35.
The shock of that moment shook America to its core. I've heard people say their childhood ended that day. And not long after, mine actually did. It all started when my hypothalamus sent a signal to my pituitary gland telling it to release a couple of gonadotropic hormones, which stimulated testicular growth, flooding my system with 20 times more testosterone. And that starts a chain of events which transforms you completely. Puberty. Now, at the time, it all seems very serious. But looking back, puberty has a hell of a sense of humor. The first thing you notice is you have hair in new places, around your groin and under your armpits. The next thing you notice is the smell. Now, we may think of BO as a bad thing, but it's part of the whole point of this new growth. Pubic hair not only acts as a visual signal to potential mates of the changes you're going through, but by increasing the surface area that your natural scent can cling to, it also signals those changes by smell. whether you like it or not. For puberty's next trick, your whole body goes through a growth spurt. But the awkward thing is, not all at once. Your extremities begin to grow first, hands, feet, and head, followed by your legs and arms, and then finally, mercifully, your torso and your shoulders catch up. In 3 years, I'd grown 10 inches and reached full sexual maturity.
Okay. It is possible to live on nothing but furious hope.
Puberty's final trick is a doozy. Just as it gets you interested in girls, and when I say girls, I should really say Mariana Penowitz, it does this to your face. Glands in your skin produce an oily substance called sebum to help moisturize and protect it. The extra testosterone puberty loads into your system slams sebum production into overdrive. Dead skin cells, dirt, and bacteria get trapped, causing inflammation and infection. Pus forms in your sebum glands and oozes up to the surface. In just 1 year, the average teenager produces enough sebum on their forehead alone to fill a coffee cup.
And that answer would be Marianne.
The third-party suits.
Correct.
Still, I wasn't alone.
Mine workers become soldiers, singing while they...
Needless to say, none of us had dates for junior prom.
How it is hope and
A year later, though, it was the summer of love. And things were on the up. My skin had cleared up, and I was tall enough to make point guard on the varsity basketball team. Then one night after a win...
Hey, Adam. Can I talk to you?
Sure.
Alone?
Yeah.
It turns out that looking back at your first love and wondering what the hell was I thinking has a scientific explanation. Evolution is pro-reproduction, so it doesn't want a little thing like being infatuated with someone who's actually only interested in your jacket to get in the way.
Okay, well, this is me. You can kiss me if you want. Wait.
In the early days of a relationship, your brain actively switches off what little critical faculty it has,
Bye, Adam.
so that you don't notice things you don't like about your partner. Love really is blind. Now, the way I remember it, I'd never been happier. But strangely enough, the level of serotonin in your brain, which you have to thank for your sense of happiness and well-being, actually falls when you fall in love. But at the same time, dopamine levels increase, causing feelings of pleasure, euphoria, and excitement, which feels great. So you seek more, which releases more dopamine, which feels great. So you seek more, and so on. In fact, chemically speaking, love has more in common with OCD and drug addiction than with actual happiness. Nonetheless, I can think of worse ways to have clocked up my first billionth beat. Spring 1968, a few months before graduation. My grades were good, Marianne and me were nuts about each other, and the team was great. 2 wins away from qualifying for state. This is my anterior cruciate ligament. the part of my knee that connects my thigh bone to my shin bone. And then it didn't. Ligaments are there to limit the movement of your joints, stopping them moving the wrong way.
I'm okay.
Without that limitation, my season was over. But at least I still had Mary Ann to cheer me up.
Adam. Look, there's no easy way of saying this, but there's someone else.
What?
It just happened. We love each other. I'm sorry, it's really hard for me.
Beat 1 billion, 15 million, and 72. My first broken heart. Getting dumped hurts at any age, but the first time hurts like hell. And part of that is because of a major imbalance in your teenage brain. Your limbic system is pretty much fully grown, so you feel strong adult emotions like love, desire, and deep, bitter, burning rejection. But your prefrontal cortex that lets you put things in perspective and stops you doing rash things still has years of growing left to do. It's the reason Romeo and Juliet didn't end too well. And it's probably also the reason why in January 1969,
Rodriguez!
I enlisted in the Marines.
Hartson, sir.
Knew I'd be going to Vietnam, but as I reported for 9 weeks of basic training, honestly, I was excited.
Seymour!
New place, new experience, new people.
I don't have a form for you. What's your name, son?
Sir, Francisito, sir. Hey, Squirt.
Eyes front!
You have got to be kidding me.
Grab your gear! Get in that building! Now! 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 Let's move it! Let's move it! Let's move it! Let's move it! Too slow! Too slow! Let's go! 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 Go!
January 1969, Marine Corps training. And if I was worried about Francis Zito, I was about to discover I had bigger problems.
Rise and shine! Let's go! Let's go, boys! Let's go!
You learn a lot in basic training, and you learn it on the run. Now, I wasn't the biggest, the fastest, or the strongest, but you don't have to be. Oxygen and glucose are what your muscles need to keep them going. You breathe harder to get more oxygen into your blood. Your heart beats faster to get that oxygen to your muscles, where it gets burned with glucose to create energy. It's called aerobic respiration. Age 18, your maximum heart rate is just over 200 beats per minute. So all 12 pints of your blood can be pumped around your body in around 18 seconds. But after a while, that's still not enough. To keep you going, your muscles switch to burning glucose without oxygen, anaerobically. Which is fine for a while, but anaerobic respiration creates a byproduct called lactic acid, which causes that burning feeling as your muscle fibers begin to be ripped apart. Which sounds bad, but add a bit of this, and that's actually how you get stronger. Protein repairs your damaged muscles, building bigger and thicker fibers. Carbs replace the glucose you've lost, allowing you to go out the next day and do it all over again. Pretty soon, I was in the best shape of my life. So what to do with physical perfection, age 18? Take it for granted, of course. Alcohol absorption is immediate, and your liver can only process about 1 drink per hour. Any more than that, and the alcohol goes directly to your brain, which can lead to slurred speech, blurred vision, and various types of poor judgment. When you're facing imminent jungle warfare, smoking doesn't seem that serious, but of course, it is. Cigarette smoke contains something like 4,000 harmful chemicals that paralyze the tiny hairs that clean out your lungs. Mucus and toxins build up, your lungs get congested, and the harmful chemicals pour into your bloodstream. Do this for long enough, and one way or another, there's a good chance it'll be the end of you.
What the hell are you guys doing?
Maybe it was just because we were a long way from home. But Francis Zito, my grade school nemesis, actually became my friend. I forgave him for making a year of my life a misery, and he forgave me for putting the school pet in his locker.
You sneaky son of a bitch.
No talking, you maggots! You keep cutting! Let's go!
I wasn't exactly my drill sergeant's favorite cadet.
That straight as you can stand? Sir, yes, sir! I can't hear you! Sir, yes, sir!
But with 1 week till graduation, I was a lean, mean fighting machine. Then,
Rise and shine, boys! Rise and shine!
out of nowhere,
Faster, let's go, man! Come on, guys! What's your
I don't feel so good.
What's wrong with you?
Measles. Never had them as a kid, and I guess a few other guys in my bunkhouse didn't either. The measles virus gets into your system through close contact with someone who already has it. Once there, it shoves its way inside your cells, hijacking them and forcing them to produce copies of itself at a blistering rate. That's what's going on inside you when you get a virus. Any virus. You're being hijacked from the inside out. T cells are your body's special forces, sent in to figure out how to attack the hijacked cells and kill the virus inside. And when they do, they remember how they did it for the next time. So over a lifetime, we develop a whole army of memory T cells, each designed to combat a specific viral threat. In theory. Now, maybe it was the smoking, or maybe just bad luck. But the virus took hold in my lungs, developing into full-blown bronchopneumonia. From peak physical condition, I was reduced to a total invalid. Coughed so much, I thought I was going to die. And I guess the Marine Corps did too. Because when the rest of my platoon departed for Vietnam, I got handed a general discharge on medical grounds.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Man had made it to the moon. And before the end of the decade, just like JFK promised. I hadn't even made it out of my bedroom. Turned out Francis Zito was killed just 5 weeks into his tour of Vietnam. Couldn't make sense of it. Still can't if I'm honest. One twist of biological fate, and he could have been coughing his lungs up watching Neil Armstrong while I was catching a bullet in the jungle. I'd been given a second chance. I just had to figure out what to do with it. As the 70s began, America was polarizing, and it seemed like everyone was choosing sides.
People have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
I wanted no part of it. But all of a sudden, I wasn't a kid anymore, and the choices and chances that would determine my life were about to play out. Looking back, it all seems so inevitable. But what if I hadn't wound up in New York in 1975? What if I hadn't been working in that bar that night? And what if she hadn't walked in? Beat 1,281,000,042. When everything changed.
Hi. Can I get 2 rum and cokes and a vodka tonic, please?
Yeah, sure thing. I'll bring them over to you.
Thanks. You've got something on your shoe. Pilgrim.
Hey, Pilgrim, you got something on your shoe.
Alice?
Hi, Adam. I thought that was you.
Whoa. Alice can...
That was the stupidest thing I ever saw.
What are you doing these days? Do you live around here, or are you married, or...
Yeah. Yeah, I live around here, but no, I'm not married. And by the way, it was the sweetest thing I ever saw.
Now, science will tell you that there was a lot more going on in that moment than I realized. It will tell you that the beat I felt my heart skip was actually a surge of adrenaline acting on the sinoatrial node that controls it. Science will go on to say that I had subconsciously assessed that Alice's full lips, glossy hair, and low waist-to-hip ratio meant she was healthy, fertile, and had a high probability of future reproductive fitness. Well, science can take a walk on this one. What I'll tell you is the smartest, funniest, and most beautiful human being I had ever met was smiling at me. And I never wanted her to stop. I knew I needed to get serious, so I quit the bar and got my first real job. Apprentice welder fixing subway trains for the city. God, it was loud. My ears would be ringing for hours. I didn't know it at the time, but that ringing is a cause for alarm. Inside your cochlea, the tiny hair cells that amplify sound and send individual frequencies to your brain can be damaged by loud noises. Once they're broken, you'll never hear a peep out of those hairs again. But all I cared about was getting home to Alice. Now, this wasn't just fun. There are actual health benefits. Hormones released during sex reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and boost immunity. There's even a hormone that raises your pain threshold. After orgasm, other hormones are released which make you feel super relaxed and also stimulate your appetite. So some people feel like this,
Do you want Chinese food?
and other people Hey, give me a break.
Do you, Alice?
In 1979, I raised my life expectancy by approximately 2.5 years, or, as it's otherwise known,
Do you part?
I do.
got married to the girl of my dreams. You might think then that the minister saying,
I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
would have been the most unforgettable thing anyone said that day. But like always, Alice topped it.
By the way, you're gonna be a dad.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta tell you, I was shocked. And I didn't know the half of it. Sometimes the race for life has two winners. And we called ours Amy and Francis. Holding the twins, I never felt anything like it. Alice and me had fulfilled our biological purpose. The coded message in our DNA, handed down through countless generations, had been passed on. All we had to do was look after them until they were ready to pass that message on again. And that's the hard part. Bigger family meant a bigger house and bigger debt, which meant more hours and less sleep. To top it all off, I enrolled in night school on a degree program.
I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
If a TV cowboy could be president, I figured the sky was the limit. Kids, work, study, bills. I swear from that moment on, it seemed like someone pressed fast forward. As you move through your 30s, though, cellular replication and repair are slowing. So some parts of you, like your eyes, for example, begin to show their age. But of course, where vision is concerned, there's an easy fix.
You look good.
For all of 3 seconds, it was great to see clearly again. Beat 1,800,046,012. My first gray hair. Hair color is determined by the amount of melanin injected into your follicles. As you get older, you produce less melanin, and individual follicles stop injecting it in the hairs they produce. Given your scalp has between 100 and 150,000 hairs at any one time, a few gray ones shouldn't cause too much upset. And at first, of course, there's an easy fix for them, too.
Side of the Brandenburg Gate, I'm John Miller.
In 1989, I finally got my evenings back, graduating night school with a bachelor's degree in structural engineering.
The wall is being physically torn down. Both German citizens and soldiers are taking their hammers and chisels to the wall as bit by bit.
I know. Now that you're certified, maybe we'll let you put it back up.
Tonight, a moment in history is what you're seeing and hearing. There's thousands of Berliners, east and west, dancing and singing
Hello?
on top of a
Hey, Mom. Are you watching this?
They come together to celebrate the end of fear.
What is it? What? Oh, no.
That call was the start of the worst year of my life. November 1989, my father died. You know deep down it's going to happen someday, you know it, but then it happens, and nothing can prepare you for the shock of it.
And in closing, Adam and Alice wanted me to let you all know that after the burial service,
year later,
they'll be hosting a reception.
It was
at their
Mom.
home. And of course, you're all more than welcome to join us. I hope to see
They
you
said
all
it
there.
was heart failure, but honestly, I think she died of a broken heart. Sudden bereavement raises cortisol levels in the body for an average of 6 months after the event. If you're not in the best of health, like Mom wasn't, then the effect can be devastating.
You okay?
I just keep thinking about all the things that they gave me. I thought I could pay them back one day.
You know, I don't know if you're supposed to pay it back. I think you pay it forward. And I think they knew that.
So a year on, this was me paying it forward. And for a guy of 40, I felt pretty good. Still run rings around the kids in the front yard.
No!
Yeah, well, Amy is a cheat. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. The 1990s had begun and the old certainties were gone. America was facing new challenges and new threats. And so was I. On the surface, things were good. Instead of fixing subway trains, I was riding them to my new job. But inside, my body was beginning to travel in the wrong direction. In a single day, to keep you going, the 1.5 gallons of blood in your veins has to travel an astonishing 12,000 miles. 4 times the distance across the United States from coast to coast. Smooth, flexible arteries are a key part of that. But from around age 20, they get progressively stiffer. It's nothing to worry about on its own. It's only a problem if we do other things to make that journey more difficult. And of course, I was too busy to think about it. So I did. Bad diet can become a vicious circle. Fatty foods and sugar are instant sources of energy, so you're programmed to like them. The taste activates your brain's reward system, the same dopamine pathways as drugs, alcohol, or teenage infatuation, which make you seek out more, like an addiction.
Yeah, no, that would work.
Correction. It is an addiction. So you get fatter, and not just where you can see it. Visceral fat builds up around your heart, and bad cholesterol begins to stick to the interior of your already hardening arteries, making them narrower as well. It's called atherosclerosis, and it's a problem. It means the blood's journey around the body gets a little more pressured. Sugar also causes a chemical reaction that begins to break down the collagen and elastin that give your skin its stretch and structure. You get crow's feet, and your worry lines become permanent. Over time, all those things together have quite an effect. Before I knew it, my 2 billionth heartbeat was long gone, and the 20th century was history. I was 50 years old, and I'd been pushing my body too hard and too far for too long. It all came to a head on my first vacation in years.
This is a good idea. Thanks.
3 days before my 51st birthday.
How long do you need?
About 5 minutes.
I guess I don't have to tell you the date.
Live continuous coverage of a plane crash into the World Trade Center this morning.
Oh my God, Al, let's take a look at this.
All right, thank you very much. That's what you saw. We've been getting conflicting reports.
Oh my God, that's 12 blocks away from Amy's work.
That was a second plane that just...
Okay, you call Amy, I'll call the boys.
Hormones released in response to shock can lead to pieces of plaque built up by atherosclerosis rupturing, causing a wound in your arterial wall. Blood quickly clots at the site of the rupture. If this happens to you, the first thing you're likely to notice is a dull pain in your back,
All in. Hello? Hello?
which spreads to your jaw. Then a tingling sensation in your left hand. As it turned out, the clot was in my left main coronary artery, and it stopped my blood in its tracks.
Adam!
This condition has a nickname.
Wait, I want to get you help.
They call it a widowmaker. So that's how I died, at the age of 50. Wait, that can't be right. Ah, that's it. That was how I died. And this was how they brought me back to life. You see, lucky for me, there was a doctor staying at the hotel.
Adam, can you hear me?
He performed CPR for nearly half an hour until the ambulance finally got there.
Adam, can you hear me?
Your chance of survival falls 10% with every minute that you don't get CPR after sudden cardiac arrest. So I quite literally owe him my life. And this man with his hands in my chest is the other man I owe my life to. Later on, he was kind enough to fill me in on what he did to me.
First up, we put a stent into your artery, a mesh tube to keep the artery open. Then we repaired the damage to your mitral valve caused by the heart attack. And then we restarted your heart.
The amazing thing was, even after all that trauma, in that instant, my heart went right back to doing what it always had done. Pumping my blood and keeping me alive. The rest of me took a while longer.
hospital. You've had an operation, but you're okay.
I'm so sorry.
Don't.
Having a major heart attack hurts. Realizing it's all your own fault hurts worse. Apparently, heart disease strikes someone in the U.S. about once every 43 seconds. And every year, around 735,000 Americans will have a heart attack. More than 90% of those are preventable. 6 weeks later, we got back to New York. The hole in the skyline was truly a shock. I read later that the psychological stress surrounding 9/11 triggered up to a third more cardiac events in some places in the months following the attacks. So as America came to terms with ground zero, I came to terms with a new reality too.
Do you think you could walk from here to the mall in under 5 minutes?
Why?
It says here, the amount of energy required to perform intercourse with a spouse or regular partner is similar to walking about 1/2 mile at a brisk pace.
Oh. Still, don't make me laugh.
I'm just saying, keep me posted, is all.
Stop.
When you're looking to change your life, I guess there's nothing like having an incentive. So when the rest of me finally healed up, I set out to do something about it. 3 miles a day, half an hour out of my schedule, and I felt better every time. And I wasn't just running off the spare tire around my middle. Every single stride was also running off the visceral fat surrounding my heart.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Before my heart attack, I was always running to stand still, never had time for anything. Now work took a back seat, and I actually got to enjoy things.
Yes, we can.
Alice and me took up dancing.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
And it didn't matter that we were horrible at it.
Yeah, you screwed up.
No, that was
You're
wrong.
supposed to be the expert.
The point is, we were dancing.
Good.
Okay.
Oh.
wait.
Just breathe normally.
None of us can turn back the clock.
Good, good. And in and out through your mouth.
But in biological terms, we can sure slow it down a little.
Good, and again.
When I was 51, my doctor had calculated my biological age as nearly 60. At 66, it was
62. It's quite the turnaround.
62?
You can button up. Congratulations on the retirement, by the way.
Thank you.
So what's next?
It was a good question. Thanks to my fitness drive and continuing advances in medical science, as my 3 billionth beat ticked over, there was still plenty of life to come.
I believe we can send humans to orbit Mars and return them safely to Earth.
And there was no denying we were headed for uncharted territory. So what was next?
I don't know. I guess I'll find out.
No more work meant no need to live in the city. So we bought the holiday cottage we used to rent.
Oh, I just thought of something.
What?
It's an awfully long walk to the mall from here.
What, right now?
Yeah, let's go in. Let's try it out.
I have a better idea.
What, out here?
Yes.
Come on.
Just because you're a senior citizen doesn't mean you can't still rise to the occasional occasion. In fact, studies show that people over 70 are more content than at any other time of life.
Oh, it was so much fun off you, kid.
And there's no greater pleasure than seeing the children you raised raise children of their own.
Oh, that was great.
Especially when they take them home again.
Bye-bye.
Bye, kids. Hear that?
Our song.
Our song. Aw, let's do a little dance.
Where did the last 50 years go?
Well, I guess time flies when you're having fun.
Come on, let's go inside.
No one can win the war against aging, but you don't have to go down without a fight. Cycling was my weapon of choice.
Do you really need the helmet?
Come on, it's sexy.
Other things, though, you just have to accept. The collagen and elastin that gave my skin its stretch and structure are all bent out of shape. So my skin has been collapsing like a facial Grand Canyon. Looking in the mirror, I hardly recognize the person looking back. And sometimes what I see scares me.
You really should get that mole looked at.
Yeah, I think I will.
It's cancer.
Oh.
Melanoma, to be precise. Apparently the damage had been done years before. UV light from the sun, or from welding, or from who knows where. A moment 50, 60, 70 years before caused a mutation that had been slowly replicating ever since.
But I'm pretty sure we caught it in time.
I see.
Sure, things go wrong. But modern medicine has a lot of answers. They cut that melanoma out and another 2 as well, and cancer hasn't bothered me since.
All right.
Whoever said growing old is not for sissies nailed it. But the truth is, we're aging from before we're even born. From when the first cells multiplied and made new cells, little defects have been creeping in. "85 years on and your body can't keep up the process of renew and repair. Muscle and bone are broken down faster than they can be replaced. So your whole frame changes. I'm 1.5 inches shorter now. Shoulders starting to hunch. Stairs are a pain, but I take my time. And I'd climb almost anything if Alice was at the top.
It's getting late. We should get some sleep.
I love you.
And I love you.
Good night.
There's something incredible about growing old with someone. Something that frankly amazes me. As we lie here in bed, our nervous systems begin mimicking each other. Heartbeats rising and falling together, striving seemingly telepathically to fall into sync. I don't think anyone yet knows exactly how it happens, but Alice and me are together right to the heart. "60 years since our wedding, and I sleep soundly knowing we've kept all the vows we made that day. All but the last one. That always seemed so distant.
Till death do us part.
The older you get, the more time flies. But stick around long enough, and you'll get to see things you barely dreamed of come to pass.
Wow. Can you believe this?
And it's not just the things you see. Live to my age, and your heart will have successfully pumped more than 50 million gallons of blood through almost 400 million miles of blood vessels. Mankind may have made it to Mars, but my old heart has pumped my blood as far as Jupiter. And I'm not done yet. There's plenty to celebrate, even if sometimes in big groups it's a little hard to keep up. The damaged hair cells in your inner ear, beaten up by a lifetime of vibrations, mean that bit by bit the world sounds a little further away. But I prefer to think about what my body has done and what it can still do, rather than whine about what it can't.
Thank you for coming today. I feel blessed for having you all here. I've had a good life, a long life. Longer than I could ever have imagined. But I did a bit of math recently, and I would like to share it with you. It turns out I've drunk more than 20,000 gallons of liquid and eaten 70 tons of food, blinked more than 900 million blinks, slept for more than a quarter of a century.
And of course, lived through 4 billion heartbeats.
But as amazing as I find these numbers, like the candles on this cake, they're just numbers. The truth is, the things that really count can't be counted. Love, wonder, exhilaration, hope, kindness, and joy. So for those things, I want to thank you all. And I'd like to raise a glass to life. It's one hell of a ride.
To life.
Now, are we going to cut this cake or just look at it?
4 billion heartbeats. How many more to come? Who knows? But just as sure as there was a first beat, someday for certain, there will be a last. When that last beat comes, my death will begin. My lungs will rise and fall one last time. My blood will stop circulating. One by one, my major organs will close down. But then, for a few seconds, they tell me I'll have brain activity associated with heightened states of consciousness. I wonder what I'll see. Ours is the journey of a lifetime. A transformation beyond imagination. Against odds no gambler would take. A living, breathing miracle. Just like billions of miracles that came before, and billions more to come. On the path we all travel, from cradle to grave. But that's not today. Until that day comes, I'll keep on living, laughing, and loving as best I can, just like I've always done. And that's what I've learned in all my years. Use it. Live it. Enjoy it. 'Cause you never know how long you're going to